Hello, folks. Welcome back to Stranded Survivors. My name's Matt. I'm one of your co hosts.
And my name is Jericho. I'm a host of the Stranded Survivors podcast. Matt, how are you doing and what have you been up to?
My man. Well, aside from the old answer I keep repeating of waiting for Survival Ascended to be released, it's my birthday today. So,
Hey, man, happy birthday.
thank you. I'm halfway to 62, which doesn't sound fun when I word it that way, but, another revolution around the sun. Yeeting myself through
Right?
space. Here we go on this magical little blue dot we call Earth. How about you, man? What you up
uh,
to?
honestly, not been up to a lot. Just kind of been looking at a lot of stuff. It's starting to become Thanksgiving here semi soon, Christmas. Just kind of looking at, items I need to buy for people or, different things like that. Been doing the socials, trying to do some TikToks, trying to do some sports. But other than that, just working in real life so far. Kind of what I've been up to, man.
Yeah, Christmas and Hanukkah are sneaking up on us, aren't they?
Really are.
Well, Jericho, this week we are sort of in a little bit of a lull. I mean, nothing new has happened per se since the last episode. Yeah, there was like a little bit of tidbits of release dates and stuff, so we know that we're at this point guaranteed consoles coming out on the 14th. Correction from last episode. I know that was a weird little time loop we got everybody stuck in there, but we know console on the 14th for Xbox, end of the month for PlayStation, which, kind of sucks. Rest in peace, PlayStation players.
Yeah, definitely. Honestly, so I would say we are on track. Not for sure about the release date on the 14th. The wording was that they are on track for the 14th. That's their wording.
And this is as of recording on the 9th. So anything that we say in this episode is as of November 9th.
Yes.
So on track, we, you know, we like to think, I have said numerous times, oh, we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt because, daddy wildcard, blah, 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 blah. No, I'm now nervous. On track is not what I wanted to hear. What I wanted to hear is positively certified and ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, I think, man, I was looking through it today. I seen a thing that, or what is it? It's something about Game Pass. Actually, like it was on, I looked it up and it said to have this game or something, you need Game Pass for it on Xbox or like, Xbox Ultimate. And so, like, there's a lot of conflicting statements because now people are thinking that it might be on, Game Pass, and some people are thinking it's going to take a year to get the Game Pass. So I don't know. I think there's just a little confusion in the community right now.
To be honest with you, it wouldn't make sense for it to wait a year to come to Game Pass because they've already. I know for a fact Ark 2 has been guaranteed to be a day one Game Pass option, so it would make no sense for them to wait a year to put Survival Ascended on there when, at this point, my understanding is that Ark 2 should be out, within the next year, year and a half. So that would be kind of silly for them to put it up that late.
Yeah, I think you're right. But I mean, I think we also at this point now can assume with just what's going on with Survival Ascended that Arc 2 is probably going to be delayed.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. I genuinely, at this point, would be surprised if we saw it. I mean, I don't want to be that guy, but I'd be surprised if we saw it in 2024 period.
I agree. There's no other way. I see it in 2025, maybe early 2025.
I think they're going to promise us early 2025 as like a oopsie might be ad, and then once early 2025 comes, it's going to turn into spring, and then we're going to see an official release in summer is my prediction. But that's just me being either a realist or a pessimist, I guess, depending on how you look at it.
Hey, overall, man, you've been pretty good on your guesses here lately. So
Nostradamus in the recording booth, folks. Look out. Well, today, the reason we've gathered you here today, folks, I want to talk about, not only pre-release hype, but when this game comes out, Jericho, we got to hit the ground running, man. We are a month behind. So if you plan on playing a
yeah,
cross-play server, people that have already been active for a month, in the PvP world, a month is a long time for them to set up and prepare for you to come.
yeah, that's definitely a long time. So the thing that's nice, right, is I'm gonna more than likely I'm gonna only play console servers. Sorry to you. I just can't outdo a PC person. That's the honest truth. As a console player, he is definitely superior. But overall, so it's gonna be all resets, right? So even Steam players that have been playing the game, they can play with Xbox people, but servers will be reset. So those months that these people had, like, are not gonna ever be merged together. We won't even have to verse those servers. You can't connect to those servers. They're just completely different servers.
Oh, no kidding. I mean, I guess I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Yeah. So honestly, what they're doing is they're going to, so you can't merge them together like that. You can still play with your friends from fresh new servers. That's the really
Dang.
about it.
So that kind of throws a loop in the plans of the people that are, thinking that their buddies are going to get them all set up and then they're going to be able to rock and roll in a semi-established tribe here with some work dinos already tamed. That sort of throws a wrench in those plans.
Yeah, honestly, that is a good question because I wonder if you are able to actually do that. Like you were saying, like I wonder if there's a possibility to, but I know they're opening all new servers also. So I wonder. I would assume you can still play. I think you're right. I'm assuming you can still play. But overall, one of the things they're also doing for these new servers is, like you said, we are a month behind, right? So they're going to, for these new servers, they're going to like have a boosted rate on the official servers so everyone can catch up to people that are already playing for the last month.
Do we know how long that's going to last for?
They did say a date. Do not have it off the top of my head, like on the month that they were shooting for. I think they said it anyways that they want to kind of merge the servers together.
That's interesting. I'm curious to see how that's going to work. I'm immediately having some PTSD flashbacks to the Great Migration. So anytime you talk about server merging and server like shifts and stuff, I get a little so I'm curious to learn more about that.
Yeah, I think I am curious to also learn more about that and kind of see what the upcoming is here for the next either few months or yeah, probably next few months.
Hmm. Well, for a moment, I want to take a step back from theorizing and I want to look at some absolutes. So, some things that we know are absolutes
Yeah.
is the map. We have the island. I don't have an official date for
Yep.
any other official server. I just saw a thing on Reddit today that said there was a new mod map released. Whether that's true or not, I mean, well, I don't know. I couldn't access the comments. It was being all goofy. So I don't know if that's a real thing or not. But as of right now,
Mhm.
I'm making all my plans on the island. And I had said before, the island is a totally new
Yep.
environment to me. I don't know jack diddly about it. So I had to do a whole lot of research. I found 10 base areas that, like, on PVE, I think would make fantastic base locations. Some of them are your pretty standard ones, so we can breeze through those, but there's a few pretty nifty ones that, I mean, I kind of want to talk about what you think would be a good idea and which ones would probably be superior. And I'm kind of curious to see what your plan is from the PvP aspect, and if you're even willing to share that, because, I don't know if you want to out yourself and where your base is going to be.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'd be willing to share it. I got a couple things I'd like to say about it, so I'll eventually share it. But kind of what are like your areas or your top 10 areas here?
Some of the quick ones that I can breeze through real quick. Everybody knows the iceberg, right? Up in the northeast section of the map. There's like a pretty decent section on top of the iceberg you can build. It's up in like 1010, I think. But
Looks like a bridge.
yeah, yeah. But my beef with that is, am I really trying to deal with the iceberg and like the cold biome and stuff like that really early in the game? Because until you get your fortitude up, until you get like your hands on some good fur gear, it's kind of a pain in the neck to survive in the ice area.
Yeah, it's definitely a pain in the neck, but I mean, once you get fur and everything like that, honestly, I think that's a great base location. I think for me, it's an aesthetically place, right in the snow, water around, maybe not aesthetically pleasing. I think it's a place.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously, Herbivore Island is goaded. So, I mean, that's if you have ever heard of Ark, you've
Oh
probably
yeah.
heard the term Herbivore Island. So, I mean, that's a pretty standard one. I feel like that's self-explanatory. Um,
Yeah, that's got to be literally probably the best one.
on the eastern side of the swamp, though, there's this plateau. It's sort of by Green Knob, I guess. you can build a pretty decent sized flat area over there. Like it's got a big, large connected area. The swamp does suck though, and I have heard from all the little birdies all over Reddit that apparently they revamped the crap out of the swamp, and the swamp is now no joke. Like you used to be able to just chill out, and it sucked, but it wasn't terrible. But now apparently the swamps and the redwoods are pretty ruthless.
Yeah, honestly, I've not looked too much into like things swamp and different things, but I mean that spot was good when I play.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see how they've adjusted the biome because everything I have heard so far makes it sound like, if you're not dealing with piranhas, you're dealing with all these other carnivores and you're constantly getting attacked. So, I mean, I'm curious to see how bad it is. And if it's as bad as I'm hearing, maybe I won't build there. But it used to be all right. Um,
Yeah, that spot was awesome, man. I like that spot just for a little base.
yeah, it's nothing too big. If you want to get a little bigger, let's see, where did it go? Over by Pearl Cove, there's a whole big old flat area. Like a whole big area. It was, if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about,
Oh,
it's like on the western area, but it's like below the snow.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, we'd have to pull up a map and I could show you where I'm talking about. But either way, that was one of the biggest flat areas that I could see. I'm not sure if I'd want to build there just because I want to be respectful of resources and stuff. I don't want to be that guy that, if it's called Pearl Cove, my guess is there's probably a whole bunch of pearls there. And I don't want to be that guy that messes up the spawns by building in the area. So I probably won't build there, but it was just attractive because it was such a big flat area.
Yeah, I think I know the area you're talking about, and it is a very flat area right below the snow, like you said. I think by a mountain or by two mountains potentially. Um, Overall, I know you kind of have your own ideas, a couple things, but I ask on the west zone, way on the end, why don't you just build on the beach, man? It's one of the flattest areas. You can build a huge base.
So I I try to avoid the what's it called? I don't know what the word is right now off the top of my head. It's been a long day, but I try to avoid that stigma. I think it is of living on the beach. I don't want to be a beach bum. I want to be a big boy, respectable Ark player. And I feel like if I live on the beach, that doesn't make me a big boy.
Don't want to be a like stranded beach Bob or what?
I'm not opposed to it. I just don't feel like hearing it from people. The Xbox community can be pretty toxic sometimes.
And you'll be playing with a whole different type of community.
Oh yeah, I'm curious to see what we're dealing with here because there was a period in time where Survival Evolved was like an old school Call of Duty lobby, and boy howdy was it toxic. It was real toxic. And then there was a time when it was fantastic and everybody got along great.
That was more when everyone was not super hyped about the game.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Gosh, I guess now that you got me thinking, one of my top three areas, my number two area, was actually on that western side. If you're looking at the island map, there's like this plateau on the way west coast. It looks almost like an armpit, kind of. And up in the top of that little armpit, there's like it's 61.1, 11.8. I wrote the coordinates down for that one. I liked it so much. You can build downwards, like out off of that cliff, and once you get to the point where you can use cliff platforms and stuff like that, I don't know if that's going to be a thing right off the bat, but eventually you're going to be able to, once those are released, expand downwards, and you're going to be able to make a whole city down that plateau.
Really, I would really like to know that exact location. I'll have to look it up here after the episode. That seems like a pretty interesting location. You said you'll be able to build.
Yeah, yeah. I saw the video that I saw that one on was by a guy called like Teacher's Game 2, I think was the name of the thing. It was like top 14 PVE island bases. He actually had two of my top three on there actually, if I remember correctly. I think the third one, my option C is the mountains that are like kind of tiered over by Green Ob. They come up from the eastern side of the swamp. You could build like a 30 by 30 area. Somebody had said there, so that was my C, option C. B was that little armpit plateau, and then my number one option. I skipped a couple other ones just because they weren't like that enticing. Just my weird little Ewok tree platform city, crap like that. But my number one option for where I'm almost positive I'm going to server hop until I can find this area free is right at 9357.8. So there's like, it's in the southern center area, like the very southern part of the map, right in the middle. And there's like this little opening, not a cave, but kind of like a cave. Do you remember, Jericho, where we built on Ragnarok over by Blue Ob, how it had that little shallow water and then you went under the mouth opening and there was like a cave opening up inside?
Yep.
It looks similar to that, combined with the aesthetics of underneath that floating island in the center. It's got like a domed area, so nothing's going to come in from above you, and it's got these little tiny islands in the back of this little shallow water, but the water's deep enough for you to be like, do pirate stuff with the boys.
Health zone. So I know there's the one rock that has like an arching rock. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's kind of a low arch if it's what I'm thinking of, because this one was like low enough that it looked like you could probably get a raft through there and you wouldn't have a whole lot of room above the raft. It's at
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if I know the location or not.
9357.8. You should have to pull it up on Survival Evolved, or I can send you the link to that video, and if you watch it, you'll see it. Either way, that's where I'm almost positive I'm going to hop around. It's got enough area. So, I mean, I can talk later about what my plans are for how I want to build it and how I want the tribe to be structured and, silly, in-depth things like that. But for right now, that's where I want to go. Now, PvP, whole new conversation.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely think it's a whole conversation, and I think there's definitely different things to consider while building base. Like you want to consider is like how many entrances that you're kind of like it shoot up top. What is going to be the best place for turret towers? Where can we set different things? And where's our choke point? Yeah. So honestly, not going to necessarily release all the secrets, and different things like that. But I'm also not my tribe leader, right? Thing I will say, is whatever, not the tribe leader. So like I'm not really gonna choose where we go. I'm gonna trust, trust the boys is what I'll call it. And but either way, I'll say some of my base locations for now. I'm gonna stick with the good old reliable, kind of like what you were saying. I'm gonna stick with Herbivore Island. Overall, only way there is boat and flying. You have the right turret towers and the right builds. Honestly, very hard to raid unless boats are really glitchy. I have no idea. But overall, and then that's kind of I don't know if it's number one, but it's definitely on my top 3 list.
Okay. And you can't go wrong. I mean, the way that, like you said, the way that you can structure your turret towers, I'm not a big PvP player, but I know that those turret towers can be placed in such a way that, anyone who's played tower defense games knows that a well-placed turret can hold off a lot of things. And with the ability to do it all in a radius with generators now, kind of like how tech generators did, like, that's going to be game-changing for defending a base.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing, especially with now that tech gen is pretty much just power, tech turrets. These regular generators ranges that are they're just gonna be really game changing.
Oh, absolutely. I think that it's going to be way easier to defend than it is going to be to raid for at least the first probably 6 months.
Yeah, I think especially without wires, because that used to be a way to raid is some people know how to place their boxes. They just their boxes and they'd be really done. You know? But overall, we got that probably in the top 3 here. So number 2, I just kind of want to be surprised when we start to play it on Tuesday. Um, say that it's no North Cave, right? No North Cave. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Um, I explored that area a little bit, but off the top of my head, I'd have to pull up a picture here real quick. I think I know what you're talking about.
It's on Blue Ob, and you go just straight down from Blue Ob. There's a bunch of ice. There's water. Oh, and then the one entrance through the cave.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that would be a good spot. That would be easy to defend.
Yeah, that spot.
the issue you're going to run into with that is, like I had mentioned with the iceberg build, that it's going to be tough in the beginning until you can get a hold of some, warm weather stuff. You're going to have a lot of heat that you're going to need to generate in order to stay alive.
Yeah, but hopefully, AC help with that at least a little bit, and hopefully leveling up quick because that's necessarily not like the starting location, right? Like, we might have like a little smaller location where a metal spawn is and move our base over to the snow, just kind of like the stone foundations there. Like, I don't necessarily know how it's going to go, but I don't know if that's going to be our first, main location. There's going to be little
Ew, is
around.
that what you have to do for PvP? Is freaking build a base and then move and then build a new base and then move again?
So really, if you have a big enough tribe, what you want to do is you go straight to thing and you just start spamming foundations, and nobody can get that spot. And you fight people, blah blah blah. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it,
Dang. That's a whole new world that I feel like makes it an entirely new game. You know what I mean? It's Ark on hard mode.
and man, I think I love it. It makes the game so much fun.
I'm too salty for that, man. I just want my pretty dinosaurs.
Hey man, I plan on getting pretty dinosaurs and raiding people. It's gonna be a fun time.
You're gonna raid people for their pretty dinosaurs, damn it.
Yes, yes, I am. So, like I said, looks like there's been a lot of changes. New creatures eventually coming to Ark, right? But overall, I still think underwater bases have to be one of the best bases. I wonder though if regular Jennies can reach far enough. Like if they can be underwater, I don't know how that's gonna work. I'm assuming they won't work, of course. Who knows? Um, but overall, underwater bases, man, there's not a lot of underwater dinos that can soak a lot right now. Nobody's gonna have those underwater dinos that can soak right away. So overall, I think, at least for the start, I think that underwater bases, they're more hidden. Turret towers for underwater tames. Yeah, it sucks kind of getting to the land, different things like that. But overall, underwater base, man, number one. Any of them or most of them. Of course, there's ones better that are other ones that are better than other ones.
Yeah, I have never built an underwater base. Just, my fear of the deep water would make that a very unenjoyable thing for me, but I could definitely see how it would be extremely defendable. Uh, what water tames do people even use for PvP to soak stuff up? Are you talking like a Basil and a Tuso?
Yeah, those are kind of the main ones. A little less buff now that they don't have the X variants out on the island map.
Well, that's fair. Did the underwater like airtight compartments, did those come out with the beginning of the game, or are those going to be a later release?
Um, that's a good question. Either way, I've rarely ever seen those
How else do you build underwater without them?
caves have like a big air pocket, right? Like
Oh
you
yeah.
just go up and it's like an
Okay.
actual cave, like a movie or something. You
Yeah,
can
that
live
makes
inside
sense.
the
I forgot
cave.
about that. Silly me. Yeah, I have to agree with you then. That would be pretty sweet. Not only could you set up turret walls in the little, entryways and stuff when people are getting the water tames up there, but you're also going to be able to set up kill walls pretty much as soon as people come out. There's going to be limited ways in and out of those caves. So, I mean, a kill wall at all of those entrances are going to make it real tough.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I think that that can be one of the better locations in all of the
That's
island.
fair. I think that could be a lot of fun because, I mean, I keep saying that I'm trying to be a pirate, and I think that an underwater build would be a pretty sweet place to hide my booty.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool to be able to like, I don't know, just being a pirate. You can, I don't know. I think it'd just be really cool.
Heck yeah, man. We used to just stop me if I've already told this story because, I have a habit of repeating myself, but we built this really cool raft that had a straight upwards ladder and then it had a beam going off of it. It almost looked like a hangman's platform from the game Hangman. And we used to use it to ram into the side of people's bases, and it was such
Mm.
a scummy thing to do, but we would mesh using, not mesh, but we would, like, if you stood on the edge of the beam there, you would be able to bash right over somebody's walls and we would run right over the walls, and if people had left their eggs out, we would do a real quick snatch and grab. We would grab whatever we could that was unlocked and then climb right back over the ladder, over your walls, and dip out back on the raft before anyone saw us. It was so fun.
And I was gonna say that's a little scummy, but you know what? It had to be a fun time.
It was. I mean, it was, in my defense, this was back in the time when Ark was super toxic and like people would camp out your bases, and if you didn't log on for 14 days or whatever, all your dinos would become unclaimed, and there would be like 8 or 9 tribes waiting, and everyone would be divvying your crap out like it was the zombie apocalypse, and there would be extreme fights over who got to claim what, and people doing like, pteranodon dives to push you out of the way so their tribe mates could claim the dinos and you wouldn't be near it when the timer went off. There was like a whole lot of griefing style scummy crap that was going on in PvE back then.
That was in PVE only.
Yeah, that was all pure PvE, man. It was wild. This
That is
was
pretty.
yeah, there was a time where there was somebody on the center map. Their stuff was all like they lined it up pretty much. In the back across from Skull Island where there's that giant metal spawn and then it connects to the redwoods where I had used to build my bases.
Yeah.
On that little ramp going up, somebody had parked like 15 or 20 of their dinos. There was like a rock elemental, a couple gigas, they had some water tames that were down there. There was just a whole bunch of crap that they had all lined up, and the person had very obviously quit. And there were 3 tribes that were all simultaneously waiting to claim this rock elemental at the exact same time. And I remember as the timer hit 10 seconds, I got hit with a spiraling pteranodon, and it pushed me off the cliff into the water. And then one of my tribe mates came rolling in on a Bronto and started like stomping around, messing things up, pushing people around, and somebody started dropping like mountains full of like berries and thatch and like random crap to try to make it tough for people to hit Y on things, and it was like pure spamming chaos, absolute wildness. And one of my random tribe mates, one of the guys who like never did anything, never got on, he got on just in time to be the one to claim it. We had beef with that tribe that was fighting us for the rock elemental for probably the next year and a half until it was at the point where like, you had to declare war on each other in PvE servers, and like alliances would be made and people would get dragged into the wars and stuff. It was a crazy time, dude.
Yeah, that sounds like it was a pretty entertaining thing, frustrating, but also very fun.
I could do PvP if it was like that. If it could be PvE all the time and then we could declare war on each other again and go to war like on our own terms and do things that way, that would be totally different for me. But the chances of being raided anytime, it's just not fun for me.
Yeah, I do understand that. That's what I think. A lot of people just play the PvP.
You said you were not the tribe leader in your tribe. I remember you were telling me that your tribe and back up with people you haven't played with in years. These are people that you used to play with when the game first came out. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, man, I'm bringing it back to the OG days. I want that OG experience, the OG boys, okay? Haven't even talked in like 3, 4 years, however long the game's been out. We're all like, wow, you were really young back then. Yeah, crazy. And bringing it back to the OG days, man, it's going to be fun.
What was like? How many people are you gonna have? Like, how big is this tribe?
So we necessarily have like your number right now. I'd say minimum we're looking at 10 right now.
And for PvP, is that considered a small tribe, a medium tribe, an average tribe?
I would say for PvP, that's considered a very small tribe.
A very small, really?
Yeah.
How do these people like? How do you get a tribe bigger than 10 people? I don't even have 10 friends that play Ark.
That's what I'm saying, man. I don't know what these people do, but they're crazy.
Dang. Okay. So with there being 10 people in the tribe, how do you guys know what your role is? Or is it one of those that everyone just sort of does their own thing and you come together for defensive purposes?
So with this tribe, I would say I don't know, but I would say there's kind of, the normal ways of doing it, right? So you either have ways of like, you have a very organized tribe leader who's like, hey man, you're the one that gets the base location. You're the one that's a tamer. You're the one that gets all the resources. You're the one that builds this. Like there's just the different roles, right? And I don't know that's what we're doing. I don't know if I hope it is or not. Like I'm kind of down for whatever because I'm just like, I would say for me personally, I'm like a wild card, man. I'm like one of those people one second I'll love taming, next I'll love gathering. I don't like building, to be honest with you, and anybody else can do that. And but other than that, I'm hoping I don't get stuck with one thing. If I do, I'd probably prefer that thing to just be like getting drops because that's sometimes like a tribe does if you have enough people get drops. Or even the person that gets metal, I like just run up and down a hill for 24 hours. I'll go get everyone some metal, get us forge within the bit here.
Let's
So
go.
that's kind of what my thing would look like now, anyways. I don't know. We don't know how many are in a tribe yet. Don't know what any roles are. So right now it's kind of a free for all. We just started our Discord, but we're at least looking at 10, man. 10 people.
Okay. Well, I mean, like you said, 10 people is enough that hopefully you're going to be able to, you know, chill out a little bit, not have to hyper specialize as much, I guess, because, I mean, there's going to be somebody else doing everything else at any given time, probably. So that would hopefully open up the chances for you to go on some adventures.
And that's kind of what I'm hoping for. That's really what I'm hoping for, so we'll see how it
That's
goes.
fair. I'm kind of, I'm kind of in the same boat. I got a really small tribe, even by PVE standards. I mean, in PVE, you can get away with a 1-man, 2-man tribe, no problem. But I'm running with a small group as of right now. I don't I don't really know what I'm looking for in terms of overall group size. But I mean, everybody that I have confirmed who wants to tribe up with me is bringing something else to the table. So not necessarily a designated role because we're all going to do everything, I hope, but I'm looking for like, different skill sets. Like my buddy Joe Daddy, he's going to be the co-leader with me because he's been, my right-hand man in every single video game that I've ever played. And he's also one of those guys like you that will run up and down a hill for 24 straight hours gathering whatever supply you need. And that's super cool. My buddy Cal, he is a tamer and he's just like an overall dino expert. He's that guy that you're like, oh man, I really need to go get this resource. And he just so happens to know off the top of his head that this dino's the best one at that. So that's his superpower. Awesome. My buddy Willie Mello.
Yeah, man. Honestly, you need one of those people, though.
You do. You do. It comes in extremely useful, not only the background knowledge, but like the ability to go out and tame. I absolutely hate taming. So it done ticks me off when I have to go sit and tame on an official server, eat up all my time, and it always works out that I get to like 92%, and then I go to the bathroom or something and come back and a Dilo is munching on it and has gotten the taming effectiveness down to 50%, and I wasted my time.
That's fair.
So I appreciate him for doing that. And then I got a few other people, Willie Mello, shout out to you. Mike Fack, shout out to you. Everyone's got their own skill sets. I'm trying to get my boy Oxy. I don't think he listens to this podcast, but that dude is he's a fellow RuneScape nerd, which, I appreciate right off the bat. And he's also just an all around Ark expert. So I'm really hoping that I can get him to lean on his expertise, but we'll see. I honestly am probably gonna open it up and post something in our Discord here for the loop looking for tribe post and try to see if I can get a couple people from the Discord to try to join up with us because I feel like I'm gonna need more people than that.
Hey, you heard it here first. You guys want to be part of PVE tribe, which we don't even know the name of yet. So I don't know if I'd join if I didn't know the name of the tribe. But if you guys want, go and join Matt, whatever the tribe name is on PVE
Oh,
official.
it's gonna be the Stranded Survivors tribe, Stranded Survivors podcast if it'll be room, but if not, we're just gonna be the Stranded Survivors. So if you want to join up, you're more than welcome.
Get that. Want to join the Stranded Survivors PVE official tribe? Let us know. We're gonna post it in the Discord.
Man, do you have like? It's got me thinking now because I immediately am getting all jittery. Of course, our Discord, our fans, totally different. Love you guys, trust you guys. I've just been insided so many times by strangers that I'm immediately like, the danger, the danger. But our community is different. We're building a good community, so that's one thing. But as far as like tribes go, you're essentially playing with randoms, Jericho. They're your boys, yeah, but it's been 3.5 years. A lot could have changed in then. So like, do you have go-to tribe rules? Do you have like I don't know any culture things in your tribes that you do that are in ways of keeping the peace and keeping things organized?
So honestly, overall, I mean, for me personally, man, I'm just a chill person, right? I just kind of chill out. But after talking to the leader, or at least one of the main people getting things around, who was in a mega tribe last during Ark Survival Evolved, and he really said he wants to get away from the mega tribe because he's tired of all the drama, and like, oh, you can't attack them because they're our allies. All we're gonna do, man, we're gonna become allies with one, maybe two max alliances on our server. We're just gonna go from there. Kind of just like, own that server. Just go have some fun, raid some others, cause problems, we cause problems, but we're not like, you know, we're just gonna have some fun, try to make everyone happy of, attacking anyone don't like, just have some fun, man.
So you say alliances. The PVE world is very different than the PvP world, but
Yep.
like, how do you determine in the PvP world who to make alliances with, how, when, like, how do you make that decision in a PvP area?
So kind of you make that decision by one, normally talk to them quite a bit, kind of see their vibes, see what their plan is. Maybe sometimes like we're getting attacked or something, they'll even come over and help, right? Beforehand before we're actually alliance because then we can trust them even. Or like sometimes, you already know them, and which is even better, right? And you already know them, you already know the tribe. That's the best probably do it. Honest, you gotta know them.
Yeah, you've got to. I mean, it's a totally different mindset for PvP. You're actually pulling these people into combat, and you're actually going to be pulled into combat by them. So, like, it's a big decision to make. Whereas PvE, the difference is like, yeah, you can build near me. Good job.
Exactly. And honestly, for PvP, you gotta trust these people. You gotta know that they're knowledgeable about the game. They have no idea what they're doing. Why would I want them trying to coordinate an attack or coordinate a raid?
Hey, but on the other hand, the teacher in me says, like, how they going to learn if you don't take them under your flipper and show them what's up?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you have enough experienced tribe mates, I don't know if we do, because like I said, I really haven't played with a lot of these people. Only like 4 or 5 of them. That even honestly, like two. But you have enough. Why not teach the ropes? I agree.
Yeah, that's fair.
So Matt, what do you plan on doing? Matt, what do you plan on doing for you guys to confrontation?
So, confrontation in all of my PvE tribes has always, always boiled down to one of two things. Did you touch my dino and did you touch my crap? It's inevitable throughout the course of your exploring.
Yep.
You're going to find a dino, you're going to breed a dino. There's going to be some creature that you are privy to, and I fall into that mindset as well. If I have a dinosaur that is my absolute baby and you take it out on some wild adventure and hit me with like, oh, my bad, man, I landed and it walked into some lava and died. My bad. Like, I might poop a little. So the big issue with dinos, if it's like that special to you and you bred it yourself and you're trying to preserve the colors or whatever it may be, we just put a name on it. If my wyvern, I understand the island doesn't have wyverns, but in the past, my wyverns that I have named Saphira, they have been my babies, and I put Saphira, parentheses, Matt, or whatever my character name is, so that way people know, like, this one is a special one. It's like a respect thing, you know? A little bit of labeling goes a long ways.
That's fair. I agree.
And like I said, that only happens with, like, wyverns and, special things that if Billy Bob over here traded 9,000 ingots that he made himself last weekend for this one specific Anki, like, I understand that being special to them. So, like, in a special circumstance, I get that, but it's really not a big deal in my opinion. Um, and then as far as like the whole, did you snag my this? Did you snag my that? Putting people in different buildings makes a big difference. If you make a building and only put 2 bedrooms in that one building and this one belongs to you, this one belongs to me, in the middle of our tribe area, we can put like a communal area where we can do crafting, we can do like basic storage and stuff like that. But if I find a, prefab 700 damage shotgun, then maybe I won't want to throw that in like the general use bin. Maybe I'll want to hold on to that for something special, make sure it doesn't get broken.
Yeah, I think that's exactly put it in your own thing. No, you're not necessarily taken from your tribe. You're the one that
Right.
found
And
it.
if it's one of those things like, oh man, I'm going caving. Can I borrow the shotgun? Like, for sure. But I don't want to just set it out there for someone to be like, oh, geez, I'm going on a meat run. I'm going to bring this bad shotgun. And then all of a sudden, like, oh, shucks, it's gone. Oh, well. Because, I mean, that's happened in the past. Some people just you can't anticipate everything, and I understand with the changes to the death tracker, it's a lot easier to get back to your bags. You're able to track multiple deaths, so like it's easier to get back to those things, so maybe that will ease my fears. I'm sure I will chill out. It's just I'm thinking of worst case scenarios because I'm not going to out anyone's names because respect and all that, but oh boy, I had one tribe mate that I had been in a tribe with this individual numerous times, and that person is a fantastic human being. I have a lot of respect for them as a human being, but when it comes to being a tribe mate, they're very, very, very particular, and they can be very controlling, and they get very upset very easily if things aren't done their specific way. So that has sort of made the mindset of me of how can I avoid conflict? How can I avoid these power struggles before they even begin? And I think that not having some personalities like that in my tribe will probably make this not even like a problem.
Yeah, I think that's, I mean, that one personality really can affect a lot of people, either drag them down, different things like that. So I agree.
Yeah, that'll make people quit, man. That type of overbearing control mindset in a game that's supposed to be like a fun hobby definitely drives people away.
Exactly.
Do. Shoot, man. I mean, I feel like we can skip some of the stuff we got on this outline here because the basic stuff,
Yep.
like obtain your work dinos, get your defense dinos. That's all pretty basic stuff that, I mean, we could definitely do an early game episode, but I feel like that would be stuff to save for an early game. We'll assume that the people that are already in or are getting in on Tuesday have already looked that stuff up, probably.
Yeah, I'd assume so. So let's kind of honestly, I know you kind of wanted to do a small segment on just like wanted to shout out people, right? Didn't you want to shout out some people from our Discord? Yeah, we can just kind of do, who's talking in Discord. Thank you to you guys. We appreciate it. Blah, blah, blah. Kind of, start wrapping things up here a little bit, like you were saying.
So jumping into what's been going on in our Discord lately, it has been getting more active, and I love to see that. Unfortunately, because it's been so active, we can't go through and shout out like every conversation that's been going on in there. But if you guys aren't in our Discord yet, I genuinely do recommend it. Not just because like, oh yeah, it's our Discord, go ahead and join it because we're building a community. But like some of the people in here, we got some big brains in our Discord, and they're having some pretty real discussions. And a lot of the things that they're talking about are really, really supplementary to the stuff that we talk about here in the podcast. So like Melted Jedi pointed out that the 50/50 coordinates, the black hole is back. Do you remember that from like 2016?
Yeah, I do remember.
Yeah, that's back. So, fun fact for you guys, if you are randomly missing something that has disappeared, check the 50/50 area because that's like the default 000 coordinates. So, if you're tame or if an item or an artifact or something has just vanished, check 50/50.
It might be there.
We saw Mav, Menzo, and Vatsi were talking about rollbacks. So I want to hear about like rollbacks that anybody else has experienced. So if aside from those three telling their experiences already, anybody who has had anything lost in a rollback, can you let us know? Because I'm trying to sort of keep track of who's losing what's being done about it. Like I'm trying to track the customer service for Survival Ascended compared to Survival Evolved.
Yeah, and honestly, like I'm hoping that's not a big thing for the Xbox, to be honest. I guess we'll just have to see.
Yeah, unfortunately, the customer service for tickets claimed for things like that, when people would get arked for things disappearing, survivors being completely deleted, like all of those things, tickets were not responded to in a timely manner, sometimes at all. So I'm curious to see how that's going to be handled for this game.
Exactly. And kind of what I was seeing also on the Discord was that it's just me and Fyro jumped in with discussing how bad Nitrado's servers in general and how bad their support is about that.
I think that they're speaking the truth here. I'm careful about my words with Wildcard because I respect the crap out of Wildcard, but I've got no ties to Nitrado, and I don't want to say bad words on the podcast, but I'm not feeling confident about Nitrado. I am not happy with them, and I think that their business practices lately, quite frankly, suck, and I think that they, quite frankly, suck as an industry.
Man, doesn't that just like wonder if we could be like, granted survivors versus Nitrado. I don't know.
Hey, I said it in the Discord. I'm going to say it here. I got you for 7 minutes, brother. In the cage, the Nitrado CEO and Matt, we're going down. I'm going to hit you with a folding chair, brother. Somebody said that every Ark player needs to get 1 minute in the ring with him. I mean, he's going to be going in there for like 250,000 minutes, but, he's got it coming, so I don't feel bad for Mr.
Yes.
Nitrado.
No.
Let's see. Adam's family. He gave us we got a shout out from YouTube on him,
Yeah,
didn't we?
posted it like you posted on X and like, hey, for some people you are truly grateful for. That man even tagged us in it in a bunch of other like cool, awesome, great art creators. That was very awesome, and we really do appreciate Adam's family.
Yeah, that's cool, man. We really appreciate you being, thankful for us and calling us out with some of those other great names. So we appreciate it, man. Thank you for validating all the stuff we're doing. I appreciate you guys. All the positive feedback we're getting. You guys are awesome. Adam's family, speaking about him, I wanted to point this out because remember last week when we talked about the list on the r/ark that Atomic Boy had made?
Yep.
I was actually messaging back and forth with him because he had responded to me when I had messaged him on Reddit, and him and I were talking about the same thing that Adam's family brought up with like the lack of a true code rebuild, because there's a whole bunch of old bugs like Jedi was talking about with that black hole. There's a whole lot of unfixable things that have bounced from Survival Evolved to Survival Ascended, like meshing, Menzo brought up, and I wanted to know, as well as Atomic Boy wanted to know, like, what list of these things exists? How big is this list? Is it truly unfixable? And did they even really rebuild the code, or are they BSing us right now?
No, that's honestly a good question. I'm wondering, right? So should like 140 things they didn't fix? I don't know.
I honestly think that might be a good thing, because if nothing else, I'm curious and I want to know, like, we brought some of the good. We brought a lot of good things that they fixed with the 140 things, but I feel like everybody deserves to know the things they didn't fix. The only hesitation that I have is I want to respectfully be able to get my hands on the game to verify each of those things before I, publicly be like, well, you did this wrong, you did that wrong. I want to make sure I've got my ducks in a row.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, could be things that are happening, and next thing you know, they're fixed by the time we get the.
Absolutely. And with the way that our recording schedules work, I mean, recording on a Thursday, releasing on a Sunday, I mean, a lot could have been fixed in those couple days in between. So, like, we got to be graceful with that. And I just want to make sure we get everything in a row. But I would like to see that list. That's a very interesting thing that has been brought up. I don't know if you saw, Jericho. I've been making a lot of new channels in the past couple weeks, but I made a new channel today for our community section of the Discord called Freaks of Nature. I want everybody to upload photos of their survivors, because if you guys are anything like me, you try to make the most disturbing looking human beings you possibly can, and I want to see every single one of them. Gosh, who was it that posted in there already? We saw two of them. One posted in that thread and one posted in the general chat yesterday that made me do this, but gosh, there are some real good ones. Real good ones.
Really?
Yeah, have you seen either of those pictures from last night?
I'll have to check it out. I have not. I'll have to check it out.
You definitely have to. It's hilarious. And everybody else, go ahead and post pictures of your survivors, whether they're, normal looking, attractive human beings or not. I want to see those beautiful little freaks. Dude, let's talk last week. I asked you guys, what are the changes that we talked about were you most excited or upset about? We got, 2 responses, but one was me. I responded to try to help the algorithm out, and my response doesn't count, but Norse Hick 45 responded. Thank you very much, Norse Hick 45. They said, quality of life updates are great. Super pumped for the new building options, too. And mods. Imagine mods that allow you to change the architecture. Goodness. There we go. I was going to say, I know there's more. Imagine mods that allow you to change the architecture with skins. Like, imagine samurai-style buildings. Dude, that would be really, really cool. Could you imagine, like,
Ooh,
having the capability to make those region-specific buildings like that?
man, that would honestly that'd be so game changing. I don't even know if people know what to do, and I think people could really.
Not only the aesthetics would be fantastic, but think about the actual gameplay changes. If you're able to make like paper and wood houses like that, I would assume flaming arrows would suddenly become much more relevant. I would assume that I would be able to see shadows moving outside of my base and be able to use that as, sort of like an early detection tool. I could imagine that this would just have gameplay implications on top of the aesthetics.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't even think about that, and I think that's why we're just a good fit, man. We both kind of think of different things from different angles.
Yeah. But that's really good input. So thank you Norse Hick 45 for that, because that was awesome. And Jericho, do you have a different question for this week other than the like backup one that I've got written down? Did you come up with one, or should we go with good old faithful here?
Those good old faithful.
I'm gonna create a poll, folks. We did it once with the PVE versus PVP, and now I'm curious because Jericho and I were talking about earlier at work. We worked together, so Jericho and I were talking about the PC players and how PC players have an advantage not only for capabilities but also their ability to access cheats and mods and all that stuff. So there was a big debate whether or not console only or PC crossplay options. Like, we were trying to figure it out. So, out of curiosity, in our Discord, out of our viewers, do you guys play on PC? Do you play on PlayStation? Do you play on Xbox? Or do you have such a dedication to the game that you play on multiple? Because if you're one of those people that is so dedicated that you're going to play in your PC and then, go play in your Xbox because your PC needs a break or something like that, then that's awesome. And I want to hear more about you.
Yeah, that'd be a absolute menace if you did that. So shout out to you if you do
Or
that.
even if it's like, I could see you and I were talking about how for recording videos for YouTube and stuff like that, your PC has much better graphics. So I mean, if somebody is a streamer or something and they use their PC for game clips and for content and they use their Xbox for like casual play or something like that, like that's interesting. I'm just curious, I want to get to know more about our community. So I'm curious about that.
Yeah, guys, like Matt said, let's answer that. Let's click the poll. And I really can't win this one. Matt won the
Let's go.
PE one, right? Don't talk about that anymore.
You did get some shout
But
outs though.
overall, like I just wanted you guys to know, as always, we appreciate you guys. I did get a couple shout outs, but that was really it.
Yeah. Yeah, we do appreciate you guys though.
As always, we want to thank you guys. We appreciate you guys listening. It's not watching, that's for sure, but do not worry. Or do not worry. Do not worry. We are going to be posting on YouTube very soon. All we're doing is we're kind of looking for some more gameplay and some gameplay to use so we can have that in the background for you guys, but it will be released on YouTube soon. So if you guys want to go and watch that and watch the gameplay behind it, Stranded Survivors on YouTube. We've been posting a lot more shorts on there recently and even TikToks. So, follow us on there and follow us at Twitter, on X, and Discord. And, the people that are already in it, thank you guys. You guys are the OGs, man. Appreciate
For
you.
real. Shout out to all the OGs as always. Um we also not only follow us on X and YouTube and all that fun stuff, but subscribe on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Audible, whatever you're listening on, please subscribe. That helps a lot with the algorithm, and we're trying to pop up on the algorithm as high as possible to get to as many people as possible. We're trying to help as many survivors as we can transition from Survival Evolved to Survival Ascended. So with you subscribing, that will help us help them. So please.
And if you made it this far, it is time. We need to make the community crunched. Ladies and gentlemen, I need the retweets. I need the shares. We need it all. We want to make this community crunch. That's one of our goals here this year. By the end of the year, we got a month. We want to be on the community crunch one of these times. Let's see if we can do it this time.
Let's go. That would be so cool. I would be so hype. So yeah, help us out with that, guys. It takes a village. All right, folks. Yeah, I don't have much else aside from Fotsy, congrats on your graphics upgrade, looking sick, bud. Aside from that, I got nothing.
Yeah. You guys have a great day. Thank you for listening. If you listen.
Catch you later, folks.